sê, as ons kyk na Wikipedia, dan kan ek vir jou sê, haar naam is Penelope Jane. Sy is op jeugdag, gebore in 1960 in Durban. Haar eerste band was Panta, toe Jim Slip, en toe sy hoofsanger van Hotline. Ek sien sy knik hier so in die agtergrond. En teen 1987 het haar solo-loopbaan begin, nie sonder stampuntstote nie, want in 1988 is sy, kan jy glo, vir 'n jaar lank verban van TV en radio deur die apartheidsregering, omdat sy saam met Miriam Makeba en Harry Belafonte by 'n liefdadigheidskonsert vir oorlogwesies in Zimbabwe opgetree het. Sy het egter 'n brief hierna van Nelson Mandela uit die Victor Verster gevangenis in Kaapstad gekry ter aanmoediging dat sy moet aanhou sing. En toe in 1995 staan ons almal breëbors en ons sing uit volle bors die World in Union lied wat sy by die opening van die 1995 wêreldbeker toernooi gesing het. Sy het ons saam met legendes voor die wêreld se beroemdes opgetree, beroemdstes moet ek sê. Sy self is 'n legende and what an honor to have you with us in studio. PJ Powers is in the house. Good morning.
I hope
welcome.
I live up to that introduction.
Woohoo!
Wow.
I had to give that because we were so surprised. We had two colleagues this morning that are here in the studio behind the scenes that were not even born in 1995 at the World Cup. So I said to them, I'll tell you who this legend is that I'm going to have with me in studio this morning, which is amazing. Listen here, you've been traveling quite a bit lately, and you're now in Cape Town, still the best in the world, the mother city.
I must be honest, this is a glorious place. I think people are very lucky. You're very lucky to work and to live here because there is something really special about it, yeah.
Listen, you look so good, né? Are you exercising? Are you what is die geheim?
Look, my exercising is I could put the accelerator on the exercise, but definitely. But I eat healthy. I live healthily. I don't smoke. I don't drink. Wow. I'm not boring.
Everything but.
But I try to do the right things in terms of getting enough sleep and getting enough quiet, because my career is a big career and it's a noisy career. So I try my hardest to create balance in my life, because there was a time when I had none.
Wow.
And it landed me in horrible places. Yeah.
No, but you look good. And we're going to talk about that. It's 10 years since you sobered up, and I'm so excited with you. That's a very big milestone to reach. Now, you've also sang for Queen Elizabeth of United Kingdom.
Yes, I
King
have.
Juan Carlos of Spain. Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands. And, of course, you sang at the inauguration of President Nelson Mandela. And you also wrote him a song for his 85th birthday, which you performed with guests including Bill Clinton and Oprah Winfrey at 2003. That's when it was. What was it like? I know you had a quite special relationship, quite special friendship. What is he like?
Madiba?
Yes.
Mandela was a wonderful man, don't we all miss him? But he had they say that people have the X factor.
Yes.
Well, Nelson Mandela had the X factor. He was more than a politician. He was more than a freedom fighter. He was more, if you just read through his words of wisdom and his capacity, what amazed me was his capacity to forgive and to walk out of 27 years of incarceration with no bitterness and no judgment and all he wanted to do was make the country a better place. And that I found fascinating, because I often wonder how I would walk out of a prison after 27 years of incarceration and being brutalized. But he was a very special man who didn't speak politics a lot to me. When we spoke, we didn't speak politics. We spoke about people, And he always used to say to me, "Don't become too political. Politics is a dirty game." He said, "Concentrate on bringing people together, on facilitating like-minded people, and most of all, celebrating differences." I get a little irritated in South Africa because we don't all want to be the same.
Yes.
One of the beauties of South Africa is that we are different. And Heritage Day, we should go out and not try and celebrate one merged whatever culture. What we should be doing is going out there and celebrating our differences.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Celebrating and honoring that we are all different, but we can all prove to the world that we can get along with respecting each other. Respect is the most important thing in the world, you know.
Oh, definitely.
And honor. And we are blessed to have so many cultures. Let's get on with not trying to make them all the same.
Yeah,
just get on with
true.
respecting the differences.
And I love your song World in Union, which is actually what you're talking about now. I can still remember the opening of the World Cup in 1995. That was a big moment. Eh? You performed live on television.
You're so lucky you can remember it, because I can't.
I was still very young, but I can still remember the whole. There was something about it, né? This hierdie euforie, die land wat saamkom. That was a big thing.
It was a huge. It was a massive step for our country. It also made us the darlings of the world. You know. But the opening game here in Newlands, I was so nervous. I don't remember it, actually. If I could have those 3 minutes back, I would really, really be so grateful. Yeah. So I was very conscious of, in the finals at Ellis Park, I was conscious of trying to be present in those 3.5 or 4 minutes, however long the song lasts, trying to be present in that moment. Because if you asked me, I only remember what I wore for the opening game, because I can see I've seen it on TV.
Okay, but listen, where did the song come from? Because it was quite a big thing, and I know in 2009, the recording, World in Union was also featured in the Academy Award-winning Invictus.
Yes,
which was quite a big thing. Where did the song come from?
The song is a hymn.
Yeah,
the song is originally a hymn.
Okay.
Which actually was sung. The hymn was sung at Princess Diana's funeral, and it was "I vow to thee, my country."
Sure.
So that's what it was. It is originally a hymn.
Listen, you wrote a book, Here I Am, 5 years ago, and what was amazing about the book, two things actually stood out for me, and many things, but two specific things that I want to talk about. The first thing is you mentioned that throughout your life you struggled to fit in. Was that a big thing for you?
Yeah, it still is.
Why?
Because I've always been bigger, and I was always the big girl at school. I was the big girl at home. I was born 10 pounds, 9 ounces. I don't know how much that is. I just know it's huge. But I was always, and I always felt like the sort of, the fat, ugly person at school, I really did. And I think that when that USB is in your head, it takes a very long time unless you consciously try and dispel that yourself, which I work on. I still work on. But I was different. Everybody else wanted to be a teacher or a nurse or a blah, 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 blah. From the age of 6, I used to people say, well, what are you going to do? And I want to be a singer. Because I was this big tubby child. And so I did. I battled to fit in. I also battled to fit in my family, because my mum had 3 kids in 3 years, and then 6 years later she had me. So I was like an only child, but wasn't an only child. So I've tried to make my way as individualistic as possible, without it irritating people, because I don't like sensationalism. I mean, there's no point in just doing it for the sake of. But I've battled to. But there was find a place.
There was one specific stage that you went into Soweto, and it was quite special for you, fitting in, feeling that you're loved. Tell us about that. I
must be honest, and particularly because it was the time. 1983 in our country we were in a complete mess in terms of the uprising and the violence, and it was one of the most violent periods. 83 to 94 were one of the most violent periods of our history, and we arrived in Soweto for some unknown reason. It was before Jabulani, way before Jabulani. It was when I was still doing "You're So Good to Me" and everything. And it was just a rock song, and we got an invitation to perform in Soweto, and there were 40,000 people in the stadium. And when I finished singing, black people, and when I finished singing, the compere said, "What are we going to call her?" And the crowd went, "Thandeka." Wow. Which means the loved one. And for some unknown reason, at that time, in South Africa, as a white person, I was embraced
Sure.
by the people, all the people of South Africa. And I think that is the greatest blessing that I have. It was such grace to receive that honor.
Now, the second thing is, what I mentioned earlier as well, you were quite open about your struggle with alcohol in your book, and it's now 10 years, it's a decade sober. Where was the turning point for you in terms of stopping your consuming alcohol?
The turning point in I lost everything. I lost all my material things. I lost my house and my car and all those material things. But most of all, I think I lost my dignity.
Sure.
And that kind of, when you lose your dignity, you've kind of done it. You're at the lowest point. Cars and houses, they can be replaced.
Yeah.
But dignity is hard to come by a second time around. And I'd lost my dignity, and I had kind of no will to live, and I ended up drinking hairspray.
Sure.
Because I couldn't find any alcohol, and there's a lot of alcohol in hairspray, because you learn in rehab. I mean, I went to rehab 5 times. I'm a slow learner. And and I ended up in hospital. I had alcohol-induced seizures, and they thought I was going to die. And I think that is when I always say I saw the light, in terms of, you can only see a firefly when the room is absolutely black and when the night is absolutely black. And I always say that is when I saw this tiny flicker of light. And I thought, I got to keep my eye on that, because I realized then that I didn't want to die. And I kept my eye on the light. And as I kept my eye on it, I got closer and closer and closer to it, until eventually I was standing in the light again, which I really do feel that I am now. I think that I also think that there's a great God who's been looking after me unbelievably.
I want to ask you about that, because I think it's difficult to, you talk about that dark place that you found yourself in, to go from that to where you are today. You look healthy, and I can see that you look happy.
Yeah.
To get to that place, it's difficult to reach that point without God. So what role did your faith play during the darkest time?
I think I learned my faith. It's one of the wonderful things that I learned about faith. And that's why what happened to me was not all bad, because out of the darkness comes the light.
Yeah.
And I do believe that. Adversity defines one. And I learned about faith. I think that I was young, and I was running around being famous, and I just... I kind of took everything for granted, and I was like a rocket going through my life, like a comet, And when I hit the wall, it was an amazing thing, because what I realized was that I would never, ever sober up if I didn't surrender.
Wow.
And have faith, and if I didn't surrender to a higher power. And people often say to me, and I am proud of myself, I'm very proud of myself. And in the beginning it was very, very hard. But I do believe that there's a divine intervention that happened to me, because I have, and please God that this lasts, and I'm not shooting myself in the foot here, but I do believe that it's not even on my radar. It's not discipline. People can drink around me.
You're set free, kind of thing.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I am free. Yeah.
See, that's the wonderful thing, no? Jesus came to set us free, and when you're free indeed. That kind of thing. And I think when people experience it, what you like, in the situation where you were in, you know that it's true. You know that it's possible. And I think.
Well, I certainly know that we can't do this on our own.
Yes, no, that's wonderful.
I certainly know that we may as well just hand it over. And I mean, I've got "believe" tattooed on my wrist.
That's amazing.
There it is.
What is your message of encouragement to some of the listeners that might also have a battle in their life, whatever it might be? It can be in their marriage, can be with alcohol, whatever.
I do believe that that's my stuff, and I believe we've all got stuff. I don't think there's one person standing in this room that doesn't have stuff. And I think if you think you don't have stuff, then
welcome.
Welcome. So, and I think that the finest way to get rid of your stuff and to leave it behind is to first of all pull it out and stare it in the face. alcohol was my monkey on my back. And, you know, I eventually got sick and tired of it, and I looked it in the face and said,
you know, no longer.
Yeah, but then at the same time, you have to let go. People say to me, how did you manage to control your drinking? And I always say I didn't. I surrendered to it.
Wow.
And I think the biggest thing to people out there with addiction problems or any issues, but, you know, with your addiction problems, you have a disease. You can't hide behind the fact that it's not your fault and just say, oh, well, I've got a disease. You have to be actionful. But at the same time, you do have to surrender and realize that if this is a journey that you cannot do on your own. I completely believe that somebody has held my hand through this journey. And I like to believe that it's God and my higher power, you know.
Sure. Now, that's amazing. I
know. I don't like to believe. I know. You know.
You believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now you've been nominated for various, stars of charity. For instance, at Pick n Pay, you've been nominated for various awards. But what I like, the one in 2004, you've been voted number 93 in the top 100 great South Africans, which is quite.
I just made it in there. Number 93 out of 100.
You made it.
Yeah.
You made it. And what do you want to be remembered for?
I'd like to think that people, or a person, or no, people, I'd like to think that I don't want to just have I died on my tombstone. I'd like to be remembered for somebody who made a difference. I mean, it sounds so trite, but I'd like to think that I've touched some people. I'd like to think that I will continue to touch people. I believe that there's no point in being on the planet if we don't pay it forward and don't. You know, I heard a wonderful expression the other day that was, at the end of the day, we are all just walking each other home.
Wow, dis mooi.
And I think that is, I want to think that I have walked quite a lot of people home.
Yeah, dis mooi. That's a very good way to end off. We're going to play out with your song Destiny. So what is the story behind that?
The story about this is it's written, it sounds like a love song, but it's basically being set free from alcohol. And it's finding my own destiny, holding my own hand, and leading me down the road to where I want to be. So it was kind of my divorce settlement.
Oh,
with booze.
With booze.
Yeah.
Listen, it was such a privilege to have you here.
Thank you so much. And what a beautiful station with such nice people. You should see all these people, guys, in the station.
It was it.
They've
Like
all got
mense
smiles on their faces. They're all so sweet and happy and lovely. And what a great station. What I love about this station, when I read up about it, is that it has a message. It has a purpose.
Yes.
It has a reason. It's just not a whole lot of news being flung at the people and negative stuff. And I like the fact that it's an aspirational and inspirational. And I have got 2 new songs, one called Walk in My Shoes and another called Born to an Audience, which are 2 very inspirational, aspirational songs.
Yeah, that's good. Is it still nerve-wracking to go on stage?
Very.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow. It's good if it's like that.
No, my heart goes, I start getting nervous about 3 o'clock.
But it's good now. I think the moment you lose that, then you got to get off stage.
I promise you, I had 2 great shows in Oudtshoorn, and those are the last shows I did. So I've got to be better than those, because you are only as good as your last show.
Definitely. My prayer for you is that you would keep on fighting the good fight, and that you would continue to be a role model, which you are to so many people in South Africa and across the world.